Welcome to House to Home. I'm Clyde Hawsey, and as you can see, we are practicing safe measures with the mask. Isaiah with the Spokane Home Builders. You know what, Isaiah? This is interesting times. And guess what? Your members are always out there working away, and I really say that is hip, hip, hooray. We're here to educate our listening audience. And Isaiah, introduce our guest today.
Yeah, there's a lot of things happening, a lot of things going on. It's been a mild winter so far, and so people are still hard at work. And we're excited, though. Chad, you took some time to join us. Chad with Aero Concrete. Thanks so much for being with us. Just real quick, tell us who you are, what you do, and what Aero is all about.
So I'm Chad Metler. I'm with Aero Construction Supply. I've been there 13 years now. I run our Spokane branch. We have 4 locations, one in Pasco, one in Hayden, Idaho, and then one up in Sandpoint. We're kind of the headquarters. We run all of our corporations or our companies out of that headquarters. We're a broad family of companies, so we have a lot of divisions. We've got a sport court division, a signage division, asphalt maintenance division, and then our RPI, which does a lot of the major signage and major highway work and roadway work from the striping and glass beads, all that stuff. So, as a employee of Aero, I've kind of taken on a few, a couple different industry favorites, I guess, because we deal with everything. I call us kind of the ace of the industry. We do asphalt, we do concrete, and we do erosion control. So the concrete side, I really just kind of took and ran because there's so much to do with concrete. And, homeowners know that. You got concrete behind your house, you got concrete in your garage. A lot of you have concrete driveways and walkways, so you're surrounded by concrete.
Now, Chad, just because you do this every day and you almost live it, is what you're saying. I want to point out something, folks. Before we have concrete, we have cement, right?
That's right.
Okay, I just want to make sure everybody understands that. Cement is what?
Cement is the main ingredient in concrete. You got to have sand, you got to have cement, and then, of course, your admixture.
Your admixture like water, right?
Yep, like water or a bonding agent, something with, like, they call it moose milk, It just kind of holds all that stuff together.
Well, one of the real interesting things that I found here in Spokane, we have 100 degrees temperature changes taken, and concrete really is a durable product, right?
Yep, definitely. The heat doesn't really affect it necessarily like the cold does. You guys, we deal with winters 5 months out of the year. A lot of freeze-thaw cycles, a lot of cracks, a lot of spalling can happen to concrete.
Well, with a lot of things being said, let's back this up a little bit and let's be talking to the homeowner, because that's what really is going to be looking here and saying, hey, Chad, how do we fix the concrete at our home that's chipping or is breaking up? Or what do we do with this stuff? And I know that there's a lot of different occasions out there to answering questions, but what's the real prevalent one that you find that you're being brought into?
So, good question. We always get, a homeowner that comes in, back patio, looks beautiful, might be stamped concrete, but they got a crack going through it. So, of course, you want to seal that crack, because if you don't, moisture will get in there, you'll get heaving, and then it's going to just start deteriorating from there. So, we sell an array of epoxy-based products to seam them cracks together. We offer the stains if you wanted to kind of touch up on it. But the most important thing is sealing your concrete.
Okay.
You want to protect it from the weather contaminants. Puddling water on just bare concrete, it's going to freeze-thaw, cause damage. You get a coat of protection on there, it's not going to really get to the concrete. You may have to, fix the sealer, which is way easier than messing with concrete.
Very true. So, if I can ask, I've got a problem here at my own home. I've got a concrete driveway, and I got a concrete parking spot inside my garage, and I got cracks in it, and I got some settling. I'm asking, the wife is telling me, Clyde, you need to take care of that. And so I'm sitting here saying, do I tear it all out? What do I have to do? How do you begin the process to understand what to do?
So your last step, your last option should be a tear out and re-pour.
Sure.
Concrete's not cheap,
Well, nothing is.
Nothing is. You want to make sure you find where the problem's at. If you got a crack there, what I did with my driveway, I bought this new house. Well, it wasn't new, it was 25 years old. Big driveway.
Right.
lot of big gaps and heaving, and so I just ended up going in there and I got an angle grinder, and I profiled those cracks. So I opened them up. Yep. So that way, whatever material I put in there, I could have basically glue those slabs together and seal it from moisture coming into that crack. So I routed them all out. I squirted the epoxy material in there, and then I threw a little bit of sand on there to just kind of blend it in with older concrete,
Right.
and plus it gave it some texture. And then, after it cured, an hour later, I came back and just kind of sanded it down nice and flush. And so my kids are riding their bikes.
Well, now keeping this in mind, you have talent. I don't, because you work with it and I don't. But the issue is that there's ways to fix a lot of these cracks or in our sidewalks, patio, in our driveway without re-tearing the whole thing out, right?
Absolutely. And so
we need to understand what we can do and what we can't do.
Yep.
Can they come to you personally, or do they have to come to how do we make contact to get these answers?
You know what? You can come to Arrow. We're 9915 East Trent. I'm there every day. My door is wide open. My counter guys are very experienced. They've got a lot of knowledge there, so they can definitely help you.
They have answers.
Yes, they have answers. And if they don't, you know who they're coming to, right?
Well, you know who we're going to come to. We're going to come and see you then, right? With that in mind.
So I got to figure it out.
Hey, where's Chad?
Right.
He said he could come angle grind my driveway for me. That's what I heard, right?
I heard that definitely. So I'm going to tell that to my wife too.
Yeah, call Chad. No, but that is one of the really, I think, unique things about Arrow. You have kind of a division where you go do this work, but there's also a whole lot of supply. So talk a little bit, just real quick. There's this last year, a lot of people did DIY projects. I think a lot of people are still thinking about that. Or maybe there's a list they made that they haven't completed yet. What does that look like for people coming in? Because that DIY, revolution this last year. What are maybe some of the top things people are coming in to your store to looking for, and how can people engage in that?
That's perfect, because we did see an influx in homeowners when COVID first hit. People were wanting to, they were stuck at home, so they noticed all these issues and problems, and they're like, okay, we might be getting a little bit of money here. Let's try to fix our home up, And so a lot of stained patios, a lot of sealing your driveways and garages and patios, pavers. I've dealt with a few paver guys that were homeowners, wanted to do some paver re-enhancement. They had some old stuff that looked dull, so we kind of would whatever the issue is, we will kind of try to help coach them through it.
Can I ask a question? I know that there's a lot of patios and walkways, some driveways that are even exposed aggregate. You don't see as much of it being done now, and it's more of a trowel finish and so forth. But is there ways of repairing some of that
exposed aggregate?
Exposed aggregate?
That's a tough one, because all the rock is different, but
I know he's good, but
I've had guys that have gone in there and maybe used like an epoxy, and then got a hold of and you'd have to do some research, but if you get a hold of the concrete company that poured the concrete, there's a pretty good chance they may have some of that aggregate laying around. Right. So
there's different sizes of it.
There is, and different colors, and so exposed aggregate, fixing that is really tough because it looks so beautiful when it gets put down, but after a few years of neglect, it just starts either cracking or fading. And
we all have examples around our own home that we have problems with, but overall during the wintertime, of course, it really takes the abuse, and there's some people that even use salt on their concrete, fertilizer from the lawn they use on it. I mean, what else don't they use on it? Everything, right?
Yep.
And that's a definite no, right?
Yeah, definitely. Fertilizer, I see a lot of issues with.
Oh, you see a lot of it.
You're just fertilizing your lawn. Well, little do you know, your little driveway, you might see some little bronze circles, and that's from fertilizer being spread over there. And of course, I've been asked, how do I get that off of my driveway? And it's hard because that stuff soaks in and penetrates. So CLR kind of tends to pull it out,
Folks, what he's telling you is that if you fertilize, or if you do use a product that you're not too sure that it shouldn't be on the concrete, sweep it off, blow it off, do something, just get it off the concrete is what
definitely.
you're saying.
Yep.
And before you seal it again, when you begin sealing concrete, after you start doing it the first time, do you have to continue to redo that year after year, 2 years, or what?
So, I'm very much against every single year sealing. You should seal it 1 year, do a xylene wash, they call it. It's a nasty chemical. A lot of these solvent-based sealers, that's the main carrier in them. So you just roll some xylene over your stamped concrete or exposed aggregate, and it'll kind of refresh and repop that sealer. And then seal it the second, the third year. So seal it, xylene, seal it. That's
okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break here, and we want to come back, and I want to talk about one other thing, and that's the apron, the concrete apron that comes from the curb to your driveway, which is usually anywhere from 4 foot to 10 feet. Mm-hmm. And folks, this is very interesting story that Chad's going to take, because I haven't heard it yet, but I know what it is. Every district or every governmental agency, county, city has different guidelines. So come back and join us. We're going to talk about concrete aprons and how to deal with them and what to do with them, or even the sidewalk in front of your home.
Absolutely.
To help you be safe, Washington state law requires you to call 811 2 full business days before you plan, for example, to dig, drill, plow, pull from, or pound anything into the ground. Be prepared to provide the operator with the correct address, cross street, and a description of your work. You must mark the dig area with white paint. The operator will inform you of the utilities notified of your impending excavation. Wait for all their marks. Be safe and dig with care.
When building a home or considering a major remodel, who are you going to choose? The Spokane Home Builders Association is an organization that works to elevate professionalism in the residential construction industry. We promote, protect, and educate for our community, building our community one home at a time. We are the Spokane Home Builders Association.
Here at River Ridge Hardware, we carry a great selection of Krylon brand spray paints, Color Master, general purpose, the Rust Protector for taking care of metal, Fusion for taking care of plastics, and the Super Max that can take care of it all.
Weather in the inland Northwest can wear you down. And if your gutters are in poor condition or you do not have gutters, you could suffer damage that could cost a fortune to fix. Rainman Seamless Rain Gutters has almost 30 years of professional experience in serving the inland Northwest region and strives to ensure customer service that is second to none, from the time you call to the end of the project.
Welcome back to House to Home. I am Isaiah Payne with Spokane Home Builders Association. Well, my esteemed co-host, Clyde Hawsey, carrying the weight for me. We're here today with Chad from Aero Construction Supply. We've been talking about concrete and ways in which that can, things to look out for, ways to maintain that. And Clyde, you were talking in the last segment about that concrete apron between the road and your driveway. How do you deal with that? What's the story there?
Well, it's a very important part, and it isn't yours as a homeowner, but it's yours to maintain. Am I right,
Yep,
Clyde?
that's right.
Can you just do a short version of what we need to be looking for?
Absolutely. So, normally you're responsible for your sidewalk, but, that's kind of the city's deal. So
in front of
when you go into the approach and the driveways,
yes,
you can't step foot or do any construction type stuff outside of that approach.
You need a
that's
special
the
permit.
City, you need a permit, and if you do, you'll be fined or, worse.
Ask questions at the countertop or at the counter, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the apron is it's almost sacred ground, including the sidewalk. Up on the South Hill, I see a lot of trees up and down the sidewalk. That's a homeowner's responsibility.
Yep. A tree falls and you get that sidewalk that kind of buckles, that's your responsibility for the safety of those, using that sidewalk. Okay. So
very important. Otherwise, go ask questions is what I want to point out.
Yeah.
Hey, Isaiah, I want to talk about interior countertops. I like this idea.
Countertops?
Yes.
Yes.
Interior.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, it's a new thing, right? Using concrete for countertops. Probably not. When you first built your very first house you ever lived in, were there concrete countertops? Would you ever thought of doing that?
No, we had apple boxes.
The dirt floors and sure.
No,
so
not quite.
Oh, okay. But Chad, talk to us a little bit about what that looks like, how this is being used as a design item.
So concrete countertops is such a neat thing. It's been around for a while. A lot of these, DIYers are wanting to do their own countertops. So we offer the molds to give you that rock face
Oh,
if
really?
you needed to. We've got all the fiber additives for your concrete, because a lot of times if you're doing concrete countertops, you need strength. So you throw a little bit of fiber in there too. You can stain it. You can do an acid stain on it. And then the main part is sealing it, just like anything else. So protecting that concrete.
But go into your place and ask questions.
Absolutely. We've got concrete countertops at our counter, and any of us would be more than happy to coach you through that process.
Now, I want to ask another question because my wife's going to ask me tonight when I come home. Did you ask them about our basement that's been in for 40 years? It's in fine condition, but we didn't want to put carpet back down. We had it flooded one time. We said, maybe we can just put something on it like a stain or so forth. Can you do that to existing old concrete?
Yep, you sure can, and I've helped many people with that.
I got an answer.
If you come in, the one thing I get is, hey, what color looks good? What do you think looks good? Well, it's all going to look good from my house. Trust me, I'm not going to care. But, we can coach you through those, colors, get you color charts, and then putting a nice epoxy coating over it to give it that nice sheen, or use a water-based urethane, that doesn't stink, that is scratch resistant and food safe and, easy to apply.
Can I ask another question? In my life, I'm more inclined to come to Chad and say, Chad, how do we do it? And then I'm saying, do you have someone that can do it? Do you have recommendations, or do you give guidelines? What the actual homeowner should be asking? Is there questions?
Yes, definitely. And again, I've been asked that many times. We've kind of, we're a small company, so we form these relationships with a lot of these contractors out there, especially the smaller guys. Those guys are working hard to make a buck. We want to help them, but we want to make a buck too. We have our list of our preferred, guys that we would recommend out, and I would feel comfortable with them working on my house. I will recommend that guy to you. If I'm comfortable with him, I'm pretty confident that he will treat you just fine. So, yes.
But you're also going to, and if I decide not to use your contract, you're going to give me some guidelines of questions I should ask, or if I get a proposal from somebody, could I actually bring it into you and say, hey, what do you think? Are these the right questions? Does this make sense? Are you willing to go that far in helping us getting a contractor? I know that's a leading question.
No, it is, but it's a great one. When Dave Lawless started Arrow, his first slogan was "Service is our specialty." So I've always kind of taken that, I would look over that, and I always recommend to these homeowners, hey, here's 3 guys. Have them all give you a bid, and then, make your best decision.
Well, this is one of the things that, Isaiah, you and I know what we're talking about here, and we're sharing it with those viewers and Chad. We are trying to educate, and this is all about calling the pro, right?
That's right.
And the Spokane Home Builders is a very proud group of people that have a lot of great contractors, but sometimes people just don't know where to go. And I think that's really the big push that I'm trying to bring about. I don't know what your thoughts are on it.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, our membership, we have over 700 members in Northeast Washington, and so you can certainly go to Homebuilders website, shba.com. You can go to our Find a Pro section there and find a list of contractors or a lot of different industry, anything that has to do with any home project that someone might be doing. They can come find a pro at the Homebuilders, and it's going to be somebody who you can trust, who's committed to excellence and honesty, transparency in the whole process. Just like Chad is saying, yeah, I would look over a quote for you. It doesn't do anything for me, but we're interested in making sure that homeowners get the best quality they can for what they're looking for. And members like Chad are here to make that happen.
Well, that's one of the things that we're really pushing really hard for, Chad, and that's why we're asking you some very specific questions, because when it comes to concrete, I'll be honest with you, I know what a good job looks like. And by the way, there's a crack in the studio floor right there. But things like that, I mean, I've tried to fix some of these things by going down and DIY and try to fix it myself with this stuff. And 3 years later, it broke out again. I have the same problem. It just doesn't go away. So by going to Arrow, we're going to get some answers how to fix it correctly, is what you're saying.
Yep.
Now, again, address, phone numbers, website.
Perfect.
Fill us in. Give us all.
So Arrow Construction Supply, 9915 East Trent, right in between Pines and Argonne. You can always go on our website, arrowconstructionsupply.com. And if you really want to, if you got a hard-hitting question, you can always email me personally at chad@aeroconstructionsupply.com.
Okay. Well, with a lot of those things being said, Chad, what are some of the biggest things right now coming out of the winter into the spring? Should I go out and investigate, because I can see my rain gutters have been coming down, a lot of water coming out. What are some inspections that I should do around my home, with the sidewalks, with the front porch, for example? I mean,
a great one is driveways this time of year. We've got de-ice on the roads. You pull your car in, it drips off, you get the spalling. So again, we rewind, and the most important thing is sealing it properly.
Yeah,
And
I think you brought a picture, right, of what that
I
spalding
did, yeah,
looks like.
yeah, yep.
So we'll have that up on the screen. But talk about, what to look for. So that's one thing.
Yes, yep. And, to fix that, use a nice penetrating sealer, something that's easy, something that soaks into the concrete, hardens that top surface, waterproofs it for the most part. ChemStop WB Heavy Duty is a good one we offer. Very user-friendly. Barricade Silane 40 is another great product. But these are all, silane siloxane, which is just kind of a chemical that soaks into the concrete.
He's talking over my head now.
And just kind of hardens that surface and just gives you a long-term protection,
Well, Chad, you've given us a lot of good information here today, and we have a lot of topics to be talking about with your other counterpart about the asphalt. And I hope that everybody stays around and comes back to us, because this is just another part of your total program within your company. And I think that we all need to begin to understand that it's a long-term investment, and there are ways to prepare and to extend the life of anything. Concrete is one of them that has been, you pour it and it's there to enjoy. Well, it needs to be maintained. It's like the dog. You got to feed it once in a while, and you got to take care of it. So with all those things in mind, any closing comments from either one of you gentlemen?
I just appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you,
and
Clyde.
go see Chad. Go see his staff. Aero Contracting Supply, right?
Yep, Aero Construction Supply, and then
Okay.
Aero Concrete and Asphalt is our other division. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, you've got their website. You know where they're all at.
Yep.
So with all those thoughts in mind, we say thank you, and we're looking forward to do the next segment with asphalt. So stay tuned, and meanwhile, wear the mask when you need it. We'll
safe.
talk to you then. See you next time on House to Home.
Thanks for watching. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or check out any of our other programs on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Sponsored by Avista.